What if you could attract more leads, build passive income, and grow your brand all by showing up on YouTube? Well, today I'm interviewing Kyle Handy, who built a 45,000 subscriber channel, sold hundreds of homes, and created a massive revenue share team, starting from scratch and without any fancy tech skills. If you think you've missed the boat on YouTube or you're overwhelmed by where to start, this is your wake up call. Kyle's about to break down exactly how he did it, what still works, and how any agent can tap into this opportunity right now. If you want more listings, more buyers, or more freedom, keep watching. All right, I'm here with my man Kyle Handy to talk about how he built this YouTube channel to 45,000 subscribers and how you can too as a real estate agent to help you sell more homes, make more money in less time. So without further ado, Kyle, let's just jump into it. You've shared a little bit with me just in our conversations hanging out, but I want to hear, man, like why YouTube? Like how did you get started in the first place?
Yeah, well, it's great to be talking to you, AJ. Super excited to kind of share some of this content and, a little backstory as far as, getting into YouTube and that type of thing. But, realistically, it was kind of like by accident that I had gotten into YouTube early on. I had originally created a channel for real estate agents as far as like education, because I had a real estate team and I'd keep getting a lot of the same questions agents on my team would be asking. And I actually would just like record the video just so I could send it out, or have kind of like a log of like common answers, because our team was growing. We would add agents, we would lose agents, we'd add agents. And so I wanted to just, for some of the most common things, have like an easy link that I could share to agents that were joining my team. And then when I started seeing like other people that were not on my team seeing some of these videos because they were public, some of these videos were even just like Zoom calls and things that we had done as far as like meetings and things like that. But then I saw some of the other people who, weren't even on the team getting benefit out of it and actually starting to get some traction on some of these videos. I was like, man, like I bet if I actually like put some effort as far as like focused to do this towards a wider audience, I could pick up some traction. I can actually make something of this. And so sure enough, that's kind of how it all started. And then now it's turned into what it is today.
That's amazing. I know you've had your channel for a while. I started, probably on YouTube 10 years ago. I know you're pretty similar to that. And I know for me, there's been times where I get excited and stop, get excited and stop. Was there a time where you were just like, hey, I'm going to take this serious now? Or from day one, where you just like, I'm getting after it, I'm taking it serious?
Yeah, no, I would say probably like 2020, 2021, like right around COVID time frame is when like I took the YouTube videos very seriously. I actually made like a written plan, a business plan specifically for YouTube, where, I had content that I knew that I wanted to produce. I had kind of a publishing schedule, as far as like how often I wanted to publish content. And I really went at it. Kind of like you though, in the very beginning, like 2017, 2018, I wasn't consistent. That's kind of when I was just publishing videos for the team, kind of hit or miss. And I was picking up maybe 100 subscribers, every few months, just like small gains. But then as soon as that I got, really focused and serious about it, and I started publishing one video a week, and then it kind of led into 2 and 3 videos per week. But even still, just even one video per week, that's when I noticed the biggest growth on my channel. And this was like the 2020, 2021 timeframe. And then that just exploded me even more to want to do it because I could see a lot of the benefits starting to come.
That's amazing. In the early years, so 2020, you start taking it serious. Were there some other content creators or YouTubers that you were following that gave you inspiration, that just maybe taught you kind of what you were doing?
Yeah, well, so I took a lot of inspiration from all sorts of different YouTubers, not even just necessarily in the real estate space. Definitely I did have some. Ricky Carruth has been around for a long time. I followed his videos for quite some time, so he was a good one. And then also I took a lot of inspiration, even though it wasn't really like a video style, from Pat Hyben, on podcast. I would get a lot of like inspiration just of like his style and just kind of some of the topics that he would talk about. And so I would use, kind of a mixture of different other people that I saw in like the real estate space for like topical stuff. But then as far as like just inspiration, I would watch videos from like Peter McKinnon, which is, he's kind of like a videographer, like he's not anywhere in like the real estate space. Casey Neistat, just for like storytelling. And there's, all sorts of like cool little like things that like, kind of led me to kind of make my channel the way that I wanted to make it. I knew that I wanted like higher production quality, so I wanted to figure out, how do I work a camera? How do I, like, what type of lenses do I need? What kind of software do I need for my computer? And so, because I didn't want to just do it, halfway, like I was inspired by some of these other, creators in the YouTube space, that their production quality was just so high that I was like, man, I don't see somebody doing it exactly like this in the real estate space. So it made me want to kind of bring that over to here.
That's cool. Yeah, Peter McKinnon, his videos, much like yours, is so crispy. I was essentially just this crispy quality. So I can totally see that influence on what you've been able to do. You've always had a very high standard for production quality, which is just really cool to see. Well, was there ever like a moment when you were getting started where you were just like, wow, this is really working? Maybe it's you hit your first 1,000 subscribers, your first 10,000 subscribers, just that moment where it's like, hey, this is working for me.
Yeah, I would say like 1,000 subscribers was pretty exciting for me, because up until 1,000, I was getting, kind of some like, I had like hundreds, 2, 3, 4, and I had hundreds for quite a while because I wasn't really focused on it. But then like, probably from like 500 to 1,000 is when it started really growing. And then from like 1,000 to 10,000, it was growing really quickly. And that's when I would say things were like the most exciting, just because it was like still so new to me. But I could see that like the kind of the fruits of my labor, so to speak, what it was like, not everything that I was doing was in vain. It wasn't just going to be wasted. It was kind of, because I didn't really know how it would go. I was going with faith that like, hey, I've seen other people have success, in the real estate space, in other spaces, but I didn't know that I would have the success. I was like, this is a big country, big world. And I'm like, yeah, I'm just one person. Like what are the odds that like my channel will get going? And so that's kind of like was in the back of my head for a while. And then, once I had that 1,000 subscribers, but then I saw how quickly it was growing from 1,000 to, the next milestone. I was like, yeah, this is working. And I think it will continue to work.
That's exciting. That's really cool. I want to dive into some strategy and execution here in a minute, but I want to set the stage first, because really I think the opportunity for real estate agents with YouTube is twofold. We have really a platform where agents can market themselves as real estate agents to the consumer to get listings and buyers, through channels like Living in San Antonio, Texas, for example. Massive opportunity there for agents to sell hundreds of homes
For sure.
through YouTube. And then you have the other part of it where we've seen a lot of, I guess, micro influencers come up, like you and I, through YouTube, to attract agents to our brokerages, us being both at EXP and having thousands of agents between the two of us that have partnered with us at EXP. You have the other companies that have revenue share models as well. So this is also a great platform to attract agents. So I know a lot of the people watching this will be probably more so watching it for, how do I sell more homes through YouTube? And then there will be some that also are like, hey, that would be cool to be a micro influencer to build my revenue share at my company. So we don't need to focus on neither one necessarily throughout this conversation, even though we will get into some strategy and execution for YouTube in general, but it's going to be more focused on the generality of it. But I just want to get your take, I would say more so on, like, what are your thoughts on just this opportunity for real estate agents who are looking to sell more real estate through YouTube? Like, this is an opportunity that did not exist when me and you got started in real estate a decade ago. It's really come up over the last couple of years, like selling real estate through YouTube.
Yep.
Like, just speak to like the massive opportunity. I don't think a lot of agents recognize what's in front of them right now.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. It's a huge opportunity. It still is a huge opportunity. I know when I first started, talking about real estate for agents back in 2020, 2021, I mean, I have a course and everything, that basically explains it. It's funny that even back then, I'm thinking like, you better get in now because, this might only be a limited time. I thought like everybody was going to jump on it. Like, why wouldn't you? And, as far as if you're a real estate agent and you want more like leads off of YouTube, you better do it in 2020 or 2021 because, everybody's going to jump on it. It won't be available in 2025 where we are today. But you know what? It's crazy. The opportunity is still so massive today, which I imagine, we'll look back on this video in 2030 and like there will still be a huge opportunity. There is not enough local content creators for real estate as far as like hyper local, niche focused, providing value in their communities and actually gathering leads through YouTube. I think it's very underserved in a lot of the major markets and definitely in a lot of the smaller markets as well. And so I think from that standpoint, 100%, agents should be just jumping right into it and starting to learn how to do it, I mean, and that's the biggest thing is like, really, you just kind of have to get started, getting out there and hitting record and figuring it out as you go, because otherwise you'll never really get started if you're just trying to wait until, you know everything before you started. Trust me, I knew nothing when I first started. Like I said, my first calls were Zoom videos that I just published. And then my first like actual videos were terrible. And I just tried to improve them as I went on. And then also in the real estate agent space, I mean, there's definitely some other agents who are doing similar things to, myself and what you're doing, AJ, with as far as like helping other agents by providing content that gives good value to those agents. But I think if that's something that a viewer might be wanting to get into, as far as like maybe I'll use the term like kind of as like a coaching per se perspective versus like the actual agent perspective. I think there's still a massive opportunity there. I mean, you look at the amount of creators that have, even above, let's just say 5 or 10,000 subscribers, and there's not very many, I mean, there's definitely some, and there's more today than there were, 5 years ago. But it's not one of those things where it's so saturated where it's like, I missed the opportunity or, it's not going to work for me today. I would say that the opportunity is just as large, if not bigger. I mean, there's definitely even still some opportunities today that I didn't even have back in 2020. I mean, I look at things like with, artificial intelligence and just these tools that are out there now that could help somebody who is, willing to put the work in. It can help you get your channel where you want it to be in, 2-3 months versus, it might have taken me a year or 2 years to do something that you can do today in that time frame.
Yeah, it's pretty spectacular with all the tools and everything. I was coaching an agent recently about getting started on YouTube for their sales business, and we went into their local MLS, pulled up the 2 agents that have YouTube channels in their market. It's a small market. And I was just curious. I was like, okay, let's look at their current sales volume. And both of them are right between 12 and 15 million in sales volume, pretty good, right? And I was like, okay, well, let's look and see when they started their channel. Both of them started their channel, I think it was like 2020 and 2021. And we're like, okay, and let's look at the growth they've had over that time. Because I was trying to prove my point that this is the best opportunity for real estate agents right now to build their businesses.
Yeah.
And it's a small sample size. We only look at 2 agents using the special software that showed their sales that was integrated with their MLS. And I could not believe it. I was blown away. Both agents, when they started their channel, were about around $1 to $2 million in sales. And they're both around 12 to 15 million now. And it just coincided perfectly with when they started their channel. And funny enough, a lot of agents kind of like you're making the point, like this is a big opportunity still. There's not enough of this content online, and people go in their, Charlotte, where I used to sell real estate, and they're like, well, there's 10 channels. What I noticed about these 2 creators in this small market is neither of them had posted in the last 6 months. Neither of them had posted a video in the last 6 months because they probably got too busy selling real estate, got comfortable. So it's like, sure, there's 10 channels in your niche, your market, but people go through these seasons of life where they post a lot and they stop posting. And if you want to show up as a new creator and stay consistent for the next 3 to 5 years, you'll overtake those channels potentially. So it's just endless opportunity with it. And I just wanted to make sure that point was heard loud and clear.
Yeah, 100%.
Cool, man. So looking back, walk us through your initial strategy. So, who were you trying to speak to, like your niche? We covered that a little bit, but more so like, what kind of videos were you thinking about creating for that niche? How do you think through that process?
Yeah. Well, so, again, kind of going back, I guess initial process of YouTube was maybe a little bit different than what like today a YouTuber might go through, just because I was very heavy on kind of the blog side of things first, like SEO and blogging. So there was kind of a gap. I mentioned from 2018, that's kind of when I was like publishing just like Zoom videos and things like that onto my channel. And then like 2020, 2021, when I got real serious with YouTube, and that gap, that like 2 to 3 years, what I'd actually done was, I still had the YouTube channel, wasn't super focused on it, but I was creating a website, a blog, kylehandy.com, where I was actually starting to create written content, and focusing on like keywords that I knew that other real estate agents were searching for in my area. And there's many different tools that you can use for like keyword research, a lot of different AI tools even now that will just show you that information. But basically just that I kind of gotten my initial start doing blogging. And so then when I started getting really serious with YouTube in 2020, 2021, I basically was thinking, well, why don't I just take some of my, best performing blog posts and start there and, just kind of recreate my written blog post in video form. And so that's kind of how that started. And then it transpired into something where it almost kind of created like a cadence where I would create a blog post first for all of my future videos. And that was actually just essentially my script for my YouTube video. So it's kind of like knocking out two birds with one stone by just taking the time to do the research, creating the blog post first, putting all of my mental thoughts on paper, kind of organized. Because if I just hit record on the camera, a lot of times I could be a little scatterbrained and start, that video might be 45 minutes or an hour long, and it'd be hard to follow. Whereas at least if I write it down, create kind of the outline and the format for it, I can get my point across a lot more clearly. And so that's basically how it started. It started kind of with the blogging, then into YouTube, and then it always just kind of took that path.
That's really cool. And Kyle's blog has tons of free value on it as well. Some freebies if you want to check it out, kylehandy.com. So that's cool. So you started with the blogging, and that kind of transpired into YouTube. If you had to choose one, because you've been super successful with blogging, super successful with YouTube, if you had to choose one, which one would you choose, knowing what you know today?
Without a doubt, 100% YouTube. I mean, I love blogging. I love the strategy behind like actually looking at like keywords and, being really focused like strategically on how to craft kind of the article and just kind of, I don't want to say like take advantage, but like when the system, it's like you can really improve your blog rapidly. And I guess, YouTube, if you know the system well too, I mean, obviously there's things you can do with YouTube, but I would say it's not as many like ninja tricks with YouTube. It's really all about, your thumbnail, your title, the actual content itself, and, kind of how you come across on the camera and on the video. And then the actual content, as far as like how good the content is, what kind of value you're actually providing the consumer, the watcher. Whereas, like I said, with the blogging, there was definitely like more like nerdy stuff, which I mean, I love all that kind of stuff. I can geek out behind like spreadsheets and, all these types of things. So I did like that. But as far as like effectiveness, nothing, in my opinion, touches YouTube as far as like being able to gather leads, actually having people come to you versus you having to pursue them. So like in the, example of like a real estate agent, I'd tracked down lots of leads for many years. I was a big, Facebook pay-per-click, Google pay-per-click, person. That's kind of how I really ran my business for a really long time. But I would get their information, their contact information, but then I was always having to try and pursue those leads. Whereas the leads you get from YouTube, they want to talk to you, and it's such a different experience, and so that's a huge value in and of itself. But then also just the scalability, kind of like you mentioned. I mean, I'm sure a lot of those agents who had posted a few years ago, they get busy, they get you post 30, 40, 50 videos, then you start actually getting people coming in from them, and it starts to get hard to manage it all because you're getting all these leads that you get so many leads you can't even make more videos. Now, obviously, you'd want to kind of figure out that because you want to keep making videos, but that's a great example of how effective, if you're not getting any leads today, how effective it can be over a period of time. I mean, it's not going to be overnight, but it will be over a period of time. But I think it's an amazing opportunity at YouTube versus the blogging side.
Yeah, awesome. So agents, they're busy. They got full-time businesses, just helping buyers and sellers. They're probably already like, I don't have time for YouTube. I barely got time for my family in a lot of cases, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like if we could just speak to that agent that is already too busy, but they're like, man, I need to do something that's going to help me create, I guess, passive marketing in a sense, right? Versus always having to make like prospecting calls. These videos that we're talking about are just like fishing poles in the water 24/7 looking for leads. Like, what would you recommend they do in terms of process? I from like the idea they want to start the channel to publishing their first video. So let's talk about how should they script the video, or should they script it, or should they outline it? Should they sit down one day a week and record all the videos? Like how could they go about doing that?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it depends. I don't think there's one right answer there for sure, but I'll kind of talk between kind of the two that I would think would be effective for different personality types. I think there's some people who like to be extra organized and like be extra prepared, which is fine. I mean, that's kind of my MO. Like I like to have a script. Like I like to know what I'm about to do, what I'm going to get myself into. Then you also have some people that like to be like off the cuff. They just, taking you through like their life with them essentially. And you're kind of like learning as they're, living their life or doing their business, whatever it might be. And I think both strategies have proven effective on YouTube. I don't think there's one that is more effective than the other necessarily. And so, I mean, if you're that real estate agent, I think first you need to decide which style are you, right? Like, do you need to be prepared? Or do you not want to be prepared? Does that like intimidate you to try and be prepared? Like you want to be off the cuff, right? So once you know that about yourself, then I think if you're that busy real estate agent, you're like, well, I'm already busy. Like, how do I do this? Well, I think, what it comes down to at that point is just taking like a little extra thought into each of your days. So like if you are going to be the one that's doing like off the cuff videos, just figuring out, okay, like this is what I'm doing today, like sitting down in the beginning of the day and thinking like, okay, if I've got, a listing appointment over here, or I'm going to go help a buyer over here, like what else is in that area, or what can I talk about like while I'm out there, right? Just kind of have something that you're ready to do. And incorporate that into your daily life. So it's not like you're having to, pop up a studio and like, go do an extra thing. You just need to bring your camera, which you could use your phone. Ideally, you'd probably, if you want to use like a DSLR or something that's a little more higher quality, you can do that. But I mean, realistically, you can get started with the equipment that you have and just bring it into your daily life and then, bring people along the journey with you. I think there's a lot of value to that, and it doesn't have to take a ton of extra time for you. Now, if you do want to be prepared, if that's your style, I think that, just coming up with, your first 10, 15 topics that you want to discuss, whether it's your hyper local, community kind of focused real estate channel, or if it's like the real estate agent channel, like, hey, what are the common challenges that real estate agents are facing right now in 2025, and just make a list of it. And, and then go down that list and just start like speaking to it. Some of my most favorite videos that I watch are literally people just talking in front of a camera like this. I mean, there doesn't have to be all these crazy transitions or B-roll, or, sometimes you can get a little intimidated with all that, thinking it's going to take forever. But if you're providing really good content, like, you are really trying to help somebody out, and you can help somebody out, then I think that the people are going to find you no matter what. So you just got to keep doing it, being consistent about it. So it really doesn't have to be this like intimidating thing that takes a ton of time out of your day. Because realistically, even with one video per week, my channel was gaining a lot of traction. And I know other creators today that's all they do is just one video per week, and their channels are doing great. So, don't make it this bigger thing in your head than it needs to be. Just start with the equipment you have and kind of grow as you start to do it, because trust me, it will take a life of its own. Like your YouTube business, your YouTube channel, the way that it looks day one, or even, day 30, it's going to look so different, day 365, or, 2-3 years down the road. So.
Yeah, yeah, good point. One of the things that I like to think of when we're talking how to build revenue share at EXP is focus on just a few hours in the mornings on Fridays, and it's your Freedom Friday. So that I love that
Hmm.
word or phrase, you Freedom Friday. And when I think about agents who are busy selling houses, they might be prospecting expireds like I did in the mornings, for 3 hours a day, 5 days a week. If I were to go back now, I would continue to prospect 4 days a week in the mornings, and then Friday would be my Freedom Friday where I got to get a YouTube video out.
Yep. Sure.
And I can just feel the excitement where it's like I'd wake up and be like, oh man, this is how I'm going to build my freedom to get on prospect.
Yep.
Because man, I grew up in the like very organization, learning how to prospect expireds, and at the time it was inspiring seeing the guys and gals up there that had been doing it for 20 years, calling
Yeah.
expires and FISBOs. And then after I did it for like 3 years and built a lot of success doing that, I was like, man, I will not be in this industry if I have to do this for another 17 years. So with YouTube, it's like start building a way out of that act of prospecting with this marketing engine. I like to think of it as being prospecting based and then marketing for freedom.
For sure.
So prospect and then market for your freedom. And then once you have the YouTube engine running, like you said, when people reach out to you off YouTube, it's a hot lead. So that's really cool. And I think
Yeah.
one of the things I noticed, Kyle, I'd be curious to get your opinion, is when agents start posting on YouTube, they're like, okay, I'm going to do this. And it was taught to me this way when I first started on YouTube was promote your listing. It's like a virtual tour of your listing on YouTube, or it's you're staying in front of the house at 123 Main Street and it gets like 3 views. It's more about like top 10 reasons not to move to Charlotte, North Carolina. And then that's got like 3,000 views. Is that kind of what you would
Oh my
recommend as
gosh.
well?
Yeah, man, I made that mistake early on when I was, was trying because I actually did create kind of a separate spin-off channel. This was like probably 2018, 2019, 2017, somewhere in there that I was like going to create a real estate channel, for San Antonio. And I was doing it all wrong, man. Back then I was just, basically doing what you just said, going out to my new listing and, making a video about that. There was, trust me, I was still hustling. Like I was working my butt off. I just wasn't doing the right things. I was calling up new home communities and I would like go over to a community and I wouldn't even do the community overview. I would like go to one single house and be like, hey, can I just do a video in front of your, model home house, right? But like nobody's searching for, the chaparral floor plan from KB Homes or whatever, right? Like nobody cares about that. Like it's what you just said. It's like, what are the things that you want to know about that city? Top 10, top 10 things not to move to or whatever, right? It's always like these lists and these like kind of community informational videos. It's funny. I was actually watching a video. I live out here by Canyon Lake, north of San Antonio. And our lake is like super low right now. It's like 40% where it's normally filled at. But it came across my YouTube feed of like, hey, watch, why is Canyon Lake so low right now? And I was like, oh, shoot, like, why is it so low, right? Like, I kind of know, but I was like, I still wanted to watch this video. Well, I watched the video and I swear it's probably 35 minutes. And true to anything, he's got information, so he did come somewhat prepared. Like, I mean, he had stats and facts and stuff, and he was kind of like rattling it off in his head. He was walking down by Canyon Lake, and dude actually legit had a fishing pole, and he just started fishing on the video. Turns out he's a real estate agent, right? And of course,
Nice.
and now I just watched a real estate. I found out his information at the end. Like that's the thing, is I think that sometimes we overthink like what the video has to be, but realistically, like he caught my attention for like 35 minutes. I'm like watching this video, and then I start watching the guy fishing if he's gonna catch something or not catch something. He actually did catch like 2 bass, and so I was like pretty impressed. But and that's the thing, is like you can literally take people on your daily life with you, and then you provide value. I learned some information about that video, and then he put his thing out there. Hey, I'm a real estate agent in the Canyon Lake area. If you're looking to buy or sell, blah blah blah, right? And so like that's kind of the idea. I think that anybody can, if you're trying to do like that hyper focused, that niche community type of thing, I think start there. And then sometimes the other thing that I think intimidates a lot of real estate agents is they're thinking like, well, I need to make my channel about San Antonio, Texas, right? Like in my case. when realistically San Antonio is a huge market. Like there's, and there's probably already, there is already real estate agents living in San Antonio, Texas, multiple of them, right? But sometimes you don't have to be that big. You can start like literally Canyon Lake, the area that I live in. I mean, there's, tens of thousands of homes in this area. And even if I was just the known realtor on YouTube for Canyon Lake, I could make a massive business out of that. I mean, our average house price out here is very high. And so it's like you sell just a few homes a year and you're going to be doing very well. And so it's like, really, I think we overthink it and we think, oh, I need to go after these major cities to get some traction or whatever. It's like, no, literally start like if you got a big enough community, you could start there. If your community's not that big, start with like kind of the sub area or like your county or whatever it might be, and just really kind of niche down really far and then get wider as you start to get traction more for your videos. Because like if I started up a YouTube channel, even knowing what I know, and I started targeting just San Antonio general, metropolitan area, I probably would have very big struggles even getting videos to get views there. But if I started with, Canyon Lake, Mystic Shores, even just like, kind of the smaller, the community here, it's like those videos are going to get traction. Just like those videos I found that person talking about Canyon Lake, if somebody's looking to move into this area, I promise, and you're making consistent videos about that area, your videos are going to show up to them. And if you come off as the expert for that area, you have a very high likelihood that they're going to want to call you and you be their realtor.
Yeah. Great advice. Great advice. Pivoting into tools, gear, like what should they get started with? Should they go out and buy, a little point and shoot camera like this, a little easy flip screen? I know you always got big lens on your cameras, or you got a simple iPhone. What do you think?
So, I mean, I think realistically you can. I mean, these days, iPhone quality is very good. I would say like camera quality wise, you could probably get by with that. I think you'd want to do something for audio quality because that is another big factor. A lot of times, I mean, I've been guilty of this. I'll just listen to YouTube videos. Like I'll put them on my car. I'll be putting them on when I'm like walking or running or whatever. I'm not even watching the video. I'm just like listening because it's like a topic that I want to hear about. And so like we all think the video is the end all be all because it's YouTube, and it's nice if it's, crisp video, clean video, but realistically the audio is very important. And so you could start with your iPhone, but just have some kind of, good microphone. I mean, Rode makes a good microphone that's, wireless. You can kind of like clip it on to your shirt or whatever. And, that's going to allow you to kind of like move around. It's going to also, if you're outside and it's like really windy, they have ones that will have kind of like a muffler where it'll, muffle the wind sound. So it's not going to sound super windy when you're outside. But if you're inside, you can also just get, kind of some like a US or like a plug-in mic that plugs into your iPhone port. And so like the Thunderbolt port, or if you still have an older phone where it has like the headphone jack, you can plug in some of these mics as well. So that's, if you really just want to kind of like low budget it, everybody's got a phone. If you're a real estate agent, you definitely have a phone. You can start there. If you want to kind of take it up a notch and you do actually want to buy some equipment, I think like the Sony, ZV-E10, that's still a very good. It's a little bit bigger than the camera you showed on screen right there. It's not like one of these massive DSLR cameras, but it does have interchangeable lenses and it will increase the video quality of your video. And so I would definitely say if you want to step it up, you could do that. I think those are about $1,000. So it's not like super, super expensive, like coming some of these DSLRs. The one that I'm shooting on right now is a Sony a7 IV, but that's when you start getting into like $3,000 to $4,000 range for some of these. And so that's just a, decision on, once you've done this long enough, you've proven it and you really want to spend that money, then maybe do that. But you definitely don't need the Sony a7 IV or whatever it is that you think you need, some big DSLR to get started. That's more, I would say, like make that a carrot you dangle in front of yourself of like, if I record 50 videos this year, I'll go buy myself a DSLR camera or something, right? But just get started with either your phone or, kind of maybe one step up, like I said, the Sony ZV-E10, or I think there's some competitors now too, that if you just, do a little bit of research, something in that range is probably going to be just fine today.
Perfect. Just get started. And if you got the budget, go ahead and buy something that's a dedicated video recorder versus your phone. And if you are recording as an agent, and you're getting lots of texts and phone calls because you're a top producer, make sure you put that baby on airplane mode before you get started.
That's right.
Might
That's right.
might be a little might be a little distracting.
Yeah.
So like let's talk AI editing software tools. One that I had recently started using, I was talking about Kyle, is Descript. So
Yeah.
if you guys want to easily edit videos, what this does is you just upload your raw video, and then it transcribes it on the left hand side. So you have the entire script, all the words, and you hit play on the video, it'll play back your video. And as it's going, it's highlighting the words so you know where you are in the script. And if there's something that you don't want in there, you just delete the sentence or the word and it edits the video for you. And you can just hit one button. It takes out all the the ahs, the shoot, I screwed up. It takes all that out automatically. And then you fine tune it by just deleting words or sentences. I found it to be really good, really accurate. And my mind was blown using that. Being a non-tech person,
Yeah.
I was able to edit a video pretty simply. What are some other AI tools or softwares that you use?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the biggest one, I mean, we can't go without saying it is, going to be like your Chat GPT, or I mean, if you use Grok or something like that, but just, that's going to be like your workhorse, I would imagine, just as far as like preparation. You can use that like if you wanted to do some kind of keyword research or like topical stuff, like figuring out like what topics you want to start creating videos around. That's a great starting point, and it's amazing how like even hyper local it will go. I mean, it knows your area. Like I promise you, if you put in like, hey, what are, 10 YouTube video titles that I should make in the next, month or whatever, it's going to give you 10, right? Or just say, hey, what are 50? And then you pick 10. That's where you get started, is just starting with like Chat GPT, utilize, some kind of tool like that. And then you can even go deeper. And like, if you wanted to help create like the outline for the video, you can do that. A lot of times what I'll say, I'll caution some people, like don't just straight up, get the entire script and like just go verbatim, like word for word, whatever it gives you. I think a lot of the value of YouTube and like, when people find you and if they're going to like you, you've got to have some of your own like thoughts into it, right? So even if you're not like, for me, like I'm not the most verbose or like the best writer or somebody who's going to have, the most like insight into anything, but like I have good ideas. And so I'll put those into ChatGPT and I'll say, hey, like, this is what I want the video to be about. I want to talk about these 3 things, or like, whatever it is that's most important. And then like, I'll have it kind of flesh things out for me. And that saves a ton of time. And I would highly recommend, doing that. And then once you have kind of a rough draft, that's easily, editable. You can go in and like, hey, maybe it says some stuff that you don't want to say, or it's wrong about certain things. But like realistically, I mean, I remember, trying to create YouTube videos well before, a lot of the AI tools ever existed like what it is today. And I mean, making just a script for a video was something, I mean, sometimes it could take me days, but on average, I mean, it would take me at least a few hours, 3 or 4 hours. And now it's like, I mean, you can do it in less than 30 minutes realistically and still be very accurate, precise, and have it be very good. And so I think that's, as far as like a tool, just getting your content, I mean, I think that's awesome. I mean, you can go as far as just saying like, hey, I'm going to be in this area. What are some topics that, that like, if you're the type that's going to do it while you're out there that given day, you can literally just say, hey, I'm going to be out in this area today. What would be a good topic for me to discuss that people are searching for on YouTube, right? Like, I mean, there's a million ways that you can utilize ChatGPT to help you and take some of that thought out of it, right? Or some of the like, oh, I'm not going to do this because I don't know what to do. Like that should never be an excuse anymore, because, you should always know what to do at this point in time. There is a tool for that. I think that's like the biggest one as far as, an AI tool. But as far as like other like tools specifically, I don't really use a ton more now, whether or not like I'm sure, my video editors or like thumbnail creation, that kind of stuff. I still have like virtual assistants that I've hired, and they may use some of these tools, and they probably, do, which is fine. As long as the end product is what I need it to be, I'm good with it. But yeah, I mean, I think there's probably even, a DIY thumbnail AI kind of, tool that you could probably use at this point, but I still just have mine created for me.
Yeah, yeah. Even ChatGPT can make thumbnails. It's not the best, but it gets you started. One of the tools that I know you and I have both used over the years is TubeBuddy. TubeBuddy, and there's a link in the
Oh yeah.
description for it. If you guys want to check that out, you'll get a discount. That's tubebuddy.com. Super powerful because you can actually do, research your competitors, like who are your competitors, research their videos that are underperforming or overperforming, and then make videos that are overperforming on their channel. So in the real estate niche, if you're looking to help buyers, you might see a competitor in your market that did, top 5 reasons to move to Lake Norman, North Carolina. And if you see that video on their channel has 20,000 views and all the rest have 5,000 views, well, that is probably a good video to make. Any other thing like that you use with TubeBuddy for, or was it mostly like market research like that?
Yeah, no, there's actually a lot of great uses to TubeBuddy. So for instance, like, when you even put like your links in the description and stuff like that, like, especially when you have a lot of videos, I think I had over, 300 videos on the channel. Let's say you want to change a link. Well, now what do? Do you go in and edit every single description of every single video you've ever created? No, TubeBuddy has a great tool for that, where literally it's like a find and replace tool for all of like your YouTube videos. So like for those of you who maybe already have videos and you just want to like clean up your channel, and you want to start with like the descriptions of all of your videos, you can go in there and like wipe all the descriptions and just have like a templated one that goes into each one. So there's a great, I forget what they call that. It's like the listing and description tool or something like that. So that's a great one. So I would use that one quite often. But yeah, and then also, yeah, the ones that you're using like to see the competitors and like their videos. But then also there's like a keyword tool in there, which, I still prefer like my keyword tools. I like to go off of Google. And so, I use a tool called Ahrefs which is like an SEO tool for blogging, because a lot of what people search for on Google is very similar to what they're going to search for on YouTube as well. But the only thing is YouTube and keyword TubeBuddy's tool doesn't capture search volume as well, just because YouTube's not as forthcoming with like the information as far as like search volumes on YouTube. Whereas Google, it's an open book. Like you can see down to the, exact amount of searches roughly within like hundreds or thousands, right? And basically know exactly how many things people are searching for in that area. So I like to still just use like SEO blog style keyword tools versus like a TubeBuddy, but it will still get you started though. It'll give you some ideas. It'll say like good, bad, like kind of like hot, medium, or cold essentially. And so it'll get you started, and then you can kind of type some of those into a like more SEO blog style keyword tool and then see the actual like metrics behind it. So I like that. The other thing that I like to use as well, and this isn't like a TubeBuddy specific thing, is just like using the auto search feature on YouTube itself. Like that's one of those ones where it's not going to give you the amount of search volume, but like if you know of like a specific thing in your area, like let's just say, I'm in Canyon Lake, I could put Canyon Lake and then the letter A. And what comes up right after that, right? Canyon Lake and then the letter B. What comes up right after I type in B? And it's going to tell you, because it's going to have that auto search where it's going to say like, these are what most people are searching for with that letter after Canyon Lake or whatever it is, right? And so you can kind of do that to see and gauge interest as well as to like what people are actually searching for.
Beautiful, beautiful. Golden dust just being sprinkled all over this channel, this interview here. People all say golden nuggets out there, all the golden dust.
There you
Calvin was dusting us. So we're going to jump into a rapid fire round, and then we'll wrap this baby up. But first, if you guys are looking to join EXP and you want to partner with Kyle and I, being two of the top attractors in the company, and as you've seen by watching this channel, I'm just masterful at YouTube, and you want to learn all those things more in depth, then check out the link in the description to partner with us. We can have a call. And also, following this interview, we're going to have a 5-part training going deeper into the strategies that we're talking about here to build your YouTube channel today. So make sure you watch for the next video being posted and dive into those. And to steal this from Kyle's other videos, if you've watched this far into the video, do a hashtag end crew, right, Kyle?
Yeah,
end crew.
Let's see it.
Do that in the comments so we know you guys stayed with us almost to the end. But to jump into rapid fire, Kyle, real quick,
Do it.
quick answers. What is the one myth about YouTube that needs to die?
Oh man, I would say that, you've missed the boat, right? Like YouTube's been around for so many years, like it's not worth it anymore. There's other avenues as far as like, other social medias that you should be focusing in on right now. YouTube's old or whatever. I hear people talking about that it's all about TikTok or it's all about, Instagram Reels or, I hear a million other things and I still think YouTube is king.
Beautiful. Number one tip to grow faster.
Ooh, consistency. If you want to grow fast, it's just a video per week minimum, long form, one video per week, and then split that into some shorter form stuff that you can put as shorts and distribute it on your other social media channels. But at least create one long form video per week and you will see growth.
Love it. And last question, any final encouragement for agents who feel overwhelmed trying to do YouTube right?
Yeah, I would say try to find a buddy, a partner. Like luckily when I was starting my channel, I have a really good friend who, we're still good friends till today. Curtis Dixon, who, he was literally there at the very start of this and I could bounce ideas off of him. He would watch my videos, give me critiques, feedback. Although he wasn't like another creator necessarily at the time, he would be kind of, interviewing and helping with some of my videos early on with me. It was still nice to like have somebody to kind of like talk through things and just to like experience whatever it is that I was going through at the time with. It's really hard to do anything on your own. And so I would say as quickly as possible, try and find somebody. Maybe they're a fellow creator, but they don't necessarily need to be, but just somebody who you feel comfortable with, like talking about, what it is that you're going through with your channel, what you're learning, what you're excited about, what your struggles are. Just find that one person that you can kind of do this alongside, and it makes it a whole lot easier.
Great advice. Great advice. Accountability partners, running partners.
Mm.
It's all about the environment you create around you when it comes to success. And we learned from, gosh, I think Dale Carnegie. If it's not Dale Carnegie, someone correct me in the comments, but you are the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with. We're going to wrap this up, guys. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, make sure you do so you can be notified of the upcoming videos on how to build your YouTube channel for real estate agents, part 1, dropping a few days after this one. And Kyle, thanks for your time, man. It was so fun to interview you on the Kyle Handy YouTube channel and hear your YouTube story. I mean, you've sold thousands of houses, attracted thousands of agents.
Yeah.
And now with this advice that you've shared today, I think so many agents are going to just benefit from not only building their real estate businesses, but also possibly their residual income through revenue share if they have that opportunity at their brokerage. So really, really good stuff, man.
I love it. Thank you for setting this up, and I'm happy to be a part of it.
Awesome, brother. See ya. Thanks for hanging out and watching this interview with myself and Kyle Handy. I hope you got tons of value from it. Remember, knowledge is only powerful when you put it into action. So pick 1 or 2 things you learned today and start applying them to your YouTube strategy right away. If you found this helpful, be sure to hit the like button and of course, subscribe to the channel. If you're interested in partnering with myself and Kyle Handy directly at EXP, check out the link in the description. And until next time, keep showing up and we'll keep creating value and we'll see you in that next video.